Hey everyone, and welcome back to Campus Culture. I'm Cassandra, and in this series, I've been getting to know campus students and campus faculty members. Keep watching if you want to learn more about one of the members of our vibrant virtual community. Today we have Arthur, a current campus student. Hey Arthur, thanks so much for being here.
Thank you so much for having me.
Arthur, where are you tuning in from?
I'm in a small town called Brantford in Connecticut.
Awesome, and how long have you been here at campus?
I've been at campus for just a couple months now, wrapping up my first quarter. So we actually just reached the 9-week benchmark fairly recently.
Now, the reason we wanted to talk to you is you have quite an interesting life beyond being a student. Can you tell us a little bit about the things that you do outside of campus?
Absolutely. Um, my full-time job is a little bit different from many, as I am a full-time strongman athlete. So I travel around the country competing in different strongman competitions, and actually just fairly recently in April competed in my first international show, which was in a small town called Derry in the country of Ireland.
For folks who aren't familiar with strongman competitions, can you give us the brief overview of what that means?
It's sort of a niche type of weightlifting where we're using a lot of odd objects as opposed to Olympic lifting or powerlifting, where it's mostly done on a barbell and weights. So we'll lift anything from stones to logs. We'll pull cars. We do a lot of sort of aesthetically pleasing circus act type of lifts.
Can you tell us a little bit more about the training process from this? I know it's unrelated to your life as a student, but I'm so interested. How do you have a car that you pull around? How do you train for this?
I don't have a specific car just for pulling, but whenever I have to train for something like that, usually it involves asking a friend for a pretty weird favor, where it's like, "Hey, could you mind sitting in the seat and hitting the brake in an emergency where I pull it too fast, or we're going downhill or anything like that?" But usually that's just someone will bring their car, we'll attach a harness to it, and when I'm ready, I'll start pulling it 30 to 100 feet, and usually do that 2 or 3 times. That's the training process for something like that. Thankfully, I don't do that very often. But it's something that we do from time to time for sure.
And how has it been balancing your strongman training and the competitions with your life as a campus student?
Campus has actually made it fairly simple because of the schedule for classes being later towards the evening and the time commitment for a lot of the assignments being fairly easy to predict and read just based on the class syllabi. I can kind of expect and know even weeks ahead what to sort of plan my days around. So most of the time I train in the morning anyway. I'll train neat in the morning, but on any days where I have to put a lot more time focused on school, I know that way ahead of time because of the syllabi for classes like business, which have things laid out from day one of what to expect.
Okay, great. So it's about knowing what you have coming ahead and then planning to get all of that done.
Absolutely.
What were you up to before you came to us at campus? Did you have any prior college experience or maybe a career that you were building?
I had no prior college experience. I graduated high school with the unfortunate COVID class of 2020. So right after that, when I made the decision not to enroll in college immediately following high school, my family kind of nudged me and like, "Hey, you're not working, yet. Get a job." So that's kind of what I've been doing prior to the strongman was climbing the corporate ladder a bit. I just got into entry level retail, worked my way up to team lead, assistant management. I even dabbled in some sales and regional sales and marketing work for a small regional gym chain here in New England. But yeah, I've mostly just been working, just working.
And what made you decide to pursue college at the time that you found campus?
I've always wanted to pursue college. Honestly, I always kind of had excuses. in my head for it, whether it was the time commitment or not wanting to go to a 4 year university or, deal with commuting or living on site there in a dorm. So I'd always been interested in college, but with the career path that I've since now chosen and gone professional in, it's been very difficult to find ways to make that work. But I think when I discovered campus, I was taken aback a bit by just how flexible the program is with my current schedule.
So that was going to be my next question. What initially sparked your interest in campus? So you said the schedule. What else was it that made you want to learn more or pursue and apply to campus?
The number one thing for me was when I first started looking into campus is that it's not so much an online college so much as it is a college that just so happens to be online. So I'd
Hmm.
always been interested in online college in terms of how I'd be able to fit it into my time and commit to it. But a lot of those programs are a little rough to say the least, kind of falling asleep on Zoom for 4 years. But when I looked at campus and saw, the professors are more than qualified, accomplished, years of experience, the programs, how it's accredited, I was like, okay, this is different. This is an actual college that's going to teach me instead of just giving me a sheet of paper after 4 years on my computer.
How have you found that experience to be? You said, I found a college that would teach me and not just have 4 years on a computer. What do you feel that you've gotten out of campus so far that you're excited about?
I think for me, that the one thing that I've already taken away from campus is um, more than anything, communication. I think communicating with
Mm.
professors, communicating with other students, um, has helped me in my day to day life when speaking to everyone that I sort of talk with. A lot of my day to day is communicating with promoters or people that run competitions and such. And I sort of understand a lot more from their side of that the sport when it comes to running the business, running the show of things. In terms of learning, I mean, the business class that I take right now, Introduction to Business, um, has really taken me aback. And I currently run just a coaching service on the side, but ever since really understanding the foundations of business, which I've garnered from the course, I've really become in love with the idea of potentially becoming an entrepreneur and opening up my own training facility, my own health and wellness facility.
How do you feel like campus is preparing you, or perhaps in future quarters, how is it going to prepare you to open that kind of facility to run your own business?
I think it's understanding the process more than anything. I think there's always going to be things where steps of the way where I need to communicate with people, garner support from family or friends, or maybe even it's just investors or people that are interested in being partners. But I think it's understanding the necessary steps in place. Like the difference between the small things with taxation, regulation, applying for licensure, the small steps that are relatively simple, but could cost me a lot if I make mistakes or if I don't do them or am unfamiliar with them. Those are big steps of the process we're learning right now um, that I already am kind of looking at. I'm like, wow, that'd be really easy, something I'd stumble on, and all of a sudden I'm fined a couple dollars here and there. So absolutely love learning more and more about the little intricacies of business.
What's been your favorite part about the campus experience so far?
I would say the lectures are set up a lot different than what I'd expected. When I hear lecture, I think of just kind of listening and taking in information. But we do our breakout rooms where we're communicating with other students, and that is always tremendous when it comes to understanding a lot of the material we go over. It keeps me engaged personally because sometimes I am guilty of zoning out a little bit here and there through large intake of information. But when we have the breakout groups and we're kind of pitching ideas to each other or we're trying to figure out solutions to a hypothetical together, like it really helps me retain information.
So you said that the format of the lectures is a little different than you expected. Is there anything else about the campus experience that has surprised you?
I'd say the community. I wasn't sure how a community would be built through Campus Wire or through any sort of online school, but we all seem to kind of have each other's best interests at heart. Even if we're not directly messaging someone that we're acquainted with, any sort of question that gets popped around, we usually get answered rather quickly. People are more than willing to kind of share little things about themselves, like their family or their pets. I know that there's a lot of mothers that are more than proud to talk about their children, and it really gives like a feeling of community. Like I'm not just on a screen, like I see people that I interact with daily, and you kind of grow to care about them and the professors.
Can you talk a little bit about how you build that community at campus? Maybe it's in your classes or in group feeds, or how do you build your community here?
I think some of it is almost just built on understanding how different we are. Like for me, if you take away my career, I'm a 22-year-old person just trying to go to college for the first time, whereas someone else might be slightly older with college experience, or no college experience still, but all of our backgrounds are so much different, but we all just kind of have a common goal. And I think when we sort of embrace each other's differences and we talk a lot about our backgrounds, you really get a sense of like, wow, this is a community already. We just need to actually start, talking with each other. We need to help each other. And some of that stuff happens accidentally. Sometimes you're in a breakout room with someone that doesn't understand a concept, and you kind of just hit a spark, and all of a sudden, you're someone's tutor, and you enjoy some of it. Or you're someone's friend and someone that they talk to after each lecture, or someone that they go to for help with any sort of problem that they may have. But it's kind of beautiful how it all comes together.
Now, I know you're still new here at campus, still quarter one, but so far, what do you think has been your proudest accomplishment at campus?
For me, I would have to say how well I'm, with the exception of grades, because I feel like that's an easy one. I would say time management. I am terrible with time management. Prior to campus, a lot of my free time was just kind of chaotic, like doing whatever whenever I wake up or whatever. But I've since learned sort of how to put things in habitual order where, like I wake up and I'll eat and train, then I'll come back, I'll do stuff for my coaching service, I'll eat, I'll have about an hour or two to hang around. Then I'll go to my first class. When that's over, I'll have dinner with my family. Then I'll go to my second lecture. Then after that, I have a couple hours to do schoolwork and free time maybe after that. But it's that sort of pushful and almost enforce adaptability where I've made myself much more efficient with time management. And it's paid off in everything else I do. It's paid off in training. It's paid off in my coaching service. I could tell clients are a lot happier with, how more responsive I am throughout the day. It's made amends in many other areas. So I'm very, very proud of how I've grown as someone who struggled with time management to wow, now I think it's becoming more of a strength.
How has campus supported you as a student?
I have to give flowers to my student support coach as Elaney. Um, Prior to even having my first day of classes, I knew that I was going to have a attendance issue with one class for my trip to Ireland. And again, before I had even finished all my onboarding tasks. She was ready to help me, and she made sure we handled that from before day one. Making sure that wasn't going to be an obstacle, wasn't going to be an issue. She's been consistently and constantly checking up on me throughout the quarter. Um, I mean, her support is top notch in terms of her advice that she'll give me for navigating little obstacles or forks in the road. Um, Absolutely, she's been my biggest support, and it's made college and navigating through campus a lot less stressful than it could have been for sure. I think it's given me the opportunity to sort of chase my dream. When it comes to my strongman career, my penultimate goal is to one day be the world's strongest man with that. And that takes a lot of time. It takes a lot of energy. It takes a lot of support from my own family. It takes a lot of work, and that's something I knew when I made the decision not to go to college immediately after high school. Or I was like, it'd just be impossible. Well, upon enrolling at campus, it's more than possible. It's almost become relatively simple to do. It's just another part of my day now. It's given me the opportunity to pursue that 100%. It's even made it better. With what I've mentioned with time management, where it's made it easier to pursue that in many ways. Um, Without a doubt, it's with going to any other university, I wouldn't be able to live my life the same way that I'm able to with campus.
Last question for you. And on that note, what would you say to people who both have a dream and want to pursue their college experience, who are in a situation like you and might be thinking about a school like campus? What advice do you have for them?
I think my biggest advice is to sort of be honest with yourself. I will admittedly say, I had a lot of excuses for not pursuing any college. And even when I found campus, I almost tried to create little excuses to be like, why I couldn't do that. But, I sat down, I called my mom, I believe immediately. And I was like, hey, does this make sense? Or am I being a little crazy here to think that this is doable? But, I just sat down and was honest with myself. I was like, okay, I know the time commitment beforehand. I know I'm going to have to put time and energy towards this. Um, and I need to find a way to make it work. But if it can work, it will work. And so I think if you're honest with yourself and if you have support around you, like for me, it's my mom who I go to anytime I have any sort of second thoughts or doubts about anything. If you have that support, you're almost untouchable. You're almost invincible to where if you can do something, you'll be able to do something. And I encourage them to look at campus and enroll in campus.
Amazing. Well, thank you so much. I think that was really great advice. If you are out there watching and you can relate to Arthur, maybe you have a big dream or you're an athlete, but also really care about pursuing your college degree, we encourage you to check out our online associate's degree in business program at campus.edu. Arthur, thank you so much for your time, sharing your fascinating life experience and that wonderful advice. I hope you have a great rest of your day. Bye.